Hello everybody, welcome back to Easy Weeknight Cooking with Heart's Desire Spice Blends, and we are doing glazed carrots tonight. And why are we doing this? Well, because it's good, plus other things. We have decided that since it is pumpkin spice season, why not make the best of it? And so tonight we are using our pumpkin spice in our glazed carrots to be able to take down the sugar that we actually use in them. And this recipe is really good. We've been having lots of carrots. And by the way, guys, the recipe is in the description right up there. I got the stuff together this time. Score! Anyway, so we've been doing lots of glazed carrots to just try to get the perfect way to do carrots. I'm not sure there is a perfect way, but we sure tried. And so we have decided that one of the best ways we can come up with is actually using the oven right back there. So tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to be first boiling the carrots for about 5 minutes. That's it. Drain them. Go ahead and put a glaze on them, then stick them in the oven right there. And yeah, I see the stuff that's coming out of the oven. It looks good. It smells amazing. And the latest batch of carrots that we did, well, our family is kind of our, it is really kind of our set of guinea pigs. So my father decided to say, you know what, this sounds really, really weird. These things are like candy. Seriously, they're like candy. And is it just me, or do you think they might go well on ice cream? And I've got to admit, I said, ice cream? But got to admit, the flavor is great for being put on top of vanilla ice cream. It's a little weird for me. I'm sorry. Carrots and ice cream don't seem to go. It's just, unless it's carrot cake ice cream. That'll do. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Meanwhile, go ahead and take a look at our ingredients list. You can pick these things up just about anywhere in Southern Douglas County, Glenway Superstore, Azalea Mountain Store, Sherm's Thunderbird, and of course, on the page, we're happy to send anything out. Meanwhile, if you do not happen to have this year's limited run pumpkin spice, you can use chai spice, which will actually give you an even sweeter set of glazed carrots. And trust me, we've tried. And those turn into very sweet carrots. So, let's get started. Get this party rolling. What do we need first? We need 1 pound of carrots in medium to large size chunks. If you're going to be going for normal carrots instead of baby carrots like this, you're going to actually want to get them into chunks. So it kind of depends on your family's preferences, your personal preferences on that. And in this recipe, marshmallows are totally optional. We are relying on the natural sweetness of the carrots and the really great sweetness of the spice that we put in there to reduce the sugar that we're going to be using. So in this batch of glazed carrots, we are going to use 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. That's it, not a more. So and trust me when I say these things are excellent, they are amazingly sweet. Carrots actually concentrate a lot of sugar in that root. Matter of fact, I've done carrot pickles with pickling spices that out of just a salt brine that taste like pickle relish. They are very, very sweet. So we're going to capitalize on that tonight. Absolutely, we're going to capitalize on that tonight. First we're going to do, grab ourselves one of these and put about, I'd say no more than 2 cups in the bottom of it, depending on, just barely cover the carrots. So here we go. Get into the work, right? Get into the work. Go ahead and rip that bag open. Dump that in. That'll be about a single layer on the bottom. And so you're going to have the water to just above the carrots. And you're going to put it over here turn it on high, and wait until it boils. Timer it for 5 minutes. Now, what we're doing here is we're basically just blanching these, getting them ready to just melt that wonderful glaze when we put it on there, and so that it doesn't have to spend 2 hours in that oven. Now, why am I using an oven on this? Because we have found that if you can caramelize some of that glaze a little bit, it comes out so much better. And so that is why you're going to use the oven for this recipe. A lot of people will say, okay, just boil the carrots, drain them, slap the stuff on them, and you're done. That does work. That does work. I'm not saying it doesn't. I prefer, honestly, to go ahead and get a little bit of that Maillard reaction going with the brown sugar that we're going to be using, with the butter, and that flavor, when you start caramelizing, that is just fantastic. That takes glazed carrots from good to great. And so, while that there is starting to boil, why don't we go ahead and get our glaze started. So, first of all, we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of butter, half a teaspoon of pumpkin spice, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and about a half a teaspoon of lemon juice. Now, I am fresh out, so what am I going to be using? A secret ingredient here at the Bloom Kitchen, and that is lemon juice crystal. Now, this is dehydrated lemon juice right here. You don't need much, but if you find that you're always running out of lemon juice or it goes out of date before you can use it, yada, 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 yada. This is a wonderful way, secret ingredient, secret weapon, to create a lot more flavor in your food without need of salt. And excuse me real quick, I am going to see if I can get those notifications to stop. Hello. There we go. I am well loved. There we go. So, tonight I'm going to be using a little bit of this lemon juice crystal. Now, when you use lemon juice crystal, remember it's dehydrated lemon juice. That means it's kind of superpowered. Whenever you're using a dehydrated garlic or onion, granules, powder, that kind of thing, it's a little bit more superpowered than your fresh, because these things are probably 70 to 90% water. So you don't use much. We're going to use probably 1/8 of a teaspoon of this stuff. And that might be a little bit much, but then you can just sprinkle a teeny bit across the top after it's been tossed. Ooh, yum. So, grab yourself some sort of a dish. You are going to need something to cut your butter with. You want your butter softened. You really do. And that just makes it so much easier to mix. So, get your butter into your dish. That goes off to the side. And so does that. I need my measuring spoons. So, we're going for a half teaspoon of pumpkin spice. This stuff smells so good. Look at that. It's gorgeous. The color is wonderful. You open it up and it's like, oh, heaven. So very gingery. And that's part of what the draw is. If, you've probably used cinnamon and nutmeg in your glazed carrots before. And really the draw for this is not only cinnamon and nutmeg, a little bit of allspice, which gives it a much sweeter bend, but not that sticky sweet that you get from cloves. And ginger gives it just that fresh aroma. And it's a lot like lemon juice that way. It's going to increase the flavor, just the flavor of your dish, and just it accentuates the butter, and it's just so good. Okay, put that in there. We are almost to a boil over here. Matter of fact, I would say we are to a boil over here. So let's go ahead and go for 5 minutes. Start that. Okay, next what we need is brown sugar. Give me that sugar. This stuff is great. Gotta love fresh brown sugar. You really do. Always pack your sugar when you use it. And this is super fresh. You can tell because it's really sticky. Okay. Excuse me, my darlings. I need me something to wipe my hands with because that is very sticky. All right. Now what we're going to do is, now that that is bubbling away nicely, we are going to mix these up. And if your butter is not quite softened enough, you're going to want to pop it in the microwave. Definitely. 10 to 15 seconds, no more. That's going to soften it without making it into, without caramelizing it right away. So, cue the Jeopardy theme song, we're great. Excuse things, for some reason the phone is trying to reconnect a few times, so, you know, if we get interrupted, it's technical difficulties. So, go ahead and mix that up. You're going to see some wonderful stuff going on over here. Just wonderful stuff. If you've only softened your butter instead of totally dissolving your butter like this, you're going to basically come up with a deeper brown sugar texture, kind of like a cookie dough texture, definitely. And right now, if at all possible, you're going to want to dissolve your sugar in here. Meanwhile, all those flavors are just going yum. They're getting friendly here. And go ahead, put that aside. Now, we also need about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Now, you guys, you're going to be needing about half a teaspoon of lemon juice to add to this. Me, because we're using something super concentrated, we're only using about 1/8. And I may sprinkle some more on top. Now, this is the lemon juice crystal. Now, lemon juice crystal is really fun. It is one of the secret ingredients behind our Greek seasoning and our poultry seasoning. A lot of people, when they come to the farmer's market table, they smell the Greek or the poultry and go, wait a minute, that doesn't have salt in it? You're kidding. And I've got to say, no, I'm not kidding. And the lemon juice crystal is actually one of the key ingredients in making that taste like it's got salt in it, because it's a natural flavor enhancer. And that's what we're using it for here, is a natural flavor enhancement. It just makes things so much brighter and just beautiful. Now, this is still bubbling away nicely. And I've gone ahead and mixed this pretty well. This can go ahead and go aside. And I can go ahead and put everything else aside because this is a very, very simple, easy recipe. I've got 1 minute left, and that is going to be drained when we're done. And when it's done, and then we're going to make sure that it stays in that pot while we go ahead and mix in a really wonderful glaze and make sure all of the sugar gets dissolved. Now, you want to drain that really well because you don't want a whole lot of liquid in the bottom besides our glaze right over here. And too much water makes a really watery mess, where we do want to avoid having a watery mess on our hands. We just want something that looks like it's roasted and it's maybe a little bit browned on top and just looks gorgeous. Meanwhile, after it's been put in the oven for 30 to 45 minutes, it just comes out so beautiful. And the carrots get very tender, and what's more is they really do taste like candy. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, now that is off. We have some very bright carrots going on here. Oop, I need to turn off the cooking pepper. There we go. And my next thing, I'm going to drain the carrots. going to go right over here to this other sink. I will be right back. Okay, we have some drained carrots, and we have some well-drained carrots. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and let you guys take a look. There we go. Look at that. So, when you're looking over here, lots of times people will say, okay, is there any water in the bottom? And this one, there's hardly any. I don't. The water on the bottom is evaporating very quickly. So, now we are going to mix that up, pour it in, and that's where this comes in handy. Now, there is still an awful lot of sugar crystal on the bottom here. It did not dissolve well, so we're going to let the itty bitty bit of water that's left in this pan do that for us. Yes. Squeeze the bottle. Squeeze the bottle. There we go. Now, go ahead and toss those, and I don't know if you can see, but you can see some of the granules of sugar in the bottom here. So we are just going to go ahead and toss and toss and toss and try not to let any of them escape. Trust me, it does happen. And until all that sugar is dissolved, and these are well coated. And that's one of the secrets behind this, is coating these very well, so that when it's all going into the oven, you've got each one of these pieces coated with a little bit of that sugar, a little bit of the spice, a little bit of the butter, and you've got caramelization starting. So, yeah, I think that's doing it. I think that's good. Okay, now, 9x9 does very well with 1 pound of these. And you can get a pretty even layer on the bottom. And tell you what, you guys, I need, there we go, to lift that up just a wee bit so you guys can see. So now we're going to put this in this 9x9. If you're doing a simple recipe, if you've got family over for the holidays and stuff like that, by all means, 9x13 or something larger is not going to kill anything. So now that these are in here, go ahead and spread them around, and then we're going to scrape the pan and just kind of drizzle it all over the top. So as close to 1 layer as you can get here, because you want the heat pulse from the oven back here to be able to hit just about every single piece and do a little bit of caramelization on every single piece. And some of them will look like they've just plain been roasted without caramelization. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You still have that really great reaction. And moist heat, dry heat, it does make a difference. Alrighty. Now, that is looking good. It does not have to be perfect. Nobody's going to die if it is not. So, now, go ahead and scrape your pan. We want every little bit of this glaze in here to go onto our carrots. Absolutely. Every little bit that you can get out of here. That is one of the reasons why I really love these silicone spatulas. The heat-safe ones will save your bacon any time of day. And when it comes to stuff like that. And that's that. Let's take a look at what it looks like when it's done, because I've got one right back here. Oh, yes! Okay. Let's go ahead and fold this. Would you look at that? Hear that? Oh, I wish you could smell that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to toss these, get all of that wonderful stuff on the bottom onto your carrots. You don't want to leave your spices or the rest of your glaze on the bottom. Oh, this looks wonderful. Oh, it looks so good. My mouth is watering. Oh gosh, you guys have got to see this. Seriously, you've got to see this up close. Okay, down to Periscope. Here we go. Now, let's see here. There we are. Now you can see some of the browning, like right over here. That's gorgeous. You can hear how they're just kind of sizzling away a little bit. We are turning them over so that we can kind of get all of those wonderful spices and the rest of that glaze up off of the bottom of the pan. I mean, look in the corner right here. That is wonderful flavor right there. Let's get that out. And these things look just fabulous. And they smell even more so. So, oh, travesty. These guys are ready to serve. So, what a difference an oven makes. The difference between boiled and just glazed and glazed and put in the oven is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. And what's more, these are so tender, but they're going to have that itty bitty bit of a crunch to them if they're served right away. And texture is such a great thing. We eat with our eyes, we eat with our nose, we eat with the texture receptors in our mouths. And seriously, which one would you like better if it were on a Thanksgiving table? Seriously, me? I'm going for these babies. So, from our kitchen to yours, definitely. Bon appetit. And keep things tasty. Thank you guys. Have a great one and enjoy. Not a whole lot of sugar in these. And you're going to be developing a lot of those natural sweet flavors that come straight from the carrots in something like this. Have a great one. Keep things tasty, and we will see you next week.